There's a huge debate blowing up in the XRP community and a storm of confusion around one of Ripple's biggest moves of the year. Will Ripple's new stablecoin RLUSD end up killing XRP? It's a question spreading a lot of fear and uncertainty, and many are worried that the digital asset that they've backed for years is about to be tossed aside by its own creator. You can see why people might feel betrayed, and at first glance the logic makes a certain kind of sense. Why would you build something new if the old thing is working just fine? But what if everyone's looking at this from the wrong angle? What if it isn't a replacement, but a rocket booster? In this video, we're going to cut through the FUD and the speculation, and we're going to show you exactly why Ripple's CEO Brad Garlinghouse has been so vocal, stating that XRP is at the center of everything Ripple does. I'm going to lay out direct evidence from Ripple's own team and break down the key details you might have missed. These details prove that RLUSD isn't a competitor, but it's a crucial catalyst, a tool designed specifically to unlock massive institutional demand and explosive new utility for XRP. Stay tuned because the truth probably is not what you're thinking, so let's get into it. First off, let's tackle the elephant in the room. The fear that RLUSD will replace XRP didn't just appear out of thin air. For years, the community has been seeing that XRP as the ultimate bridge asset for global payments. Fast, cheap, and efficient. The whole vision for the Internet of Value seemed to rest on XRP's shoulders. Then Ripple drops the announcement of RLUSD, a stablecoin pegged to the US dollar. Suddenly the story got a little bit messy. Critics and even concerned supporters started asking a fair question. If the goal is moving value and you introduce a stable dollar-backed coin, doesn't that make the volatile XRP kind of pointless? Why would a huge bank use a fluctuating asset like XRP as a bridge when they could use a dollar-pegged stablecoin for the same transaction? And this is where the anxiety kicks in a little bit. The worry is that Ripple, chasing after big institutional clients, decided a stablecoin is an easier product to sell to a conservative financial player than XRP ever was. This created a narrative where some believe XRP will be demoted to a minor role, maybe just paying transaction fees on the XRP ledger while RLUSD steals the spotlight. This fear gets a little bit louder every single time you see a headline focusing on RLUSD, making it seem like XRP is being left behind in the dust. It's a real concern that deserves a real evidence-backed answer, and that answer is coming straight from the top. While all the doubt is swirling, Ripple leadership, especially CEO Brad Garlinghouse, has been incredibly and repeatedly clear. We need to listen to his exact words. Right after Ripple's huge acquisition of Hidden Road, known as Ripple Prime now, Garlinghouse went on social media with a powerful message. He said, and I'm going to quote him directly, "As we continue to build solutions towards enabling an internet of value, I'm reminding you all that XRP sits at the center of everything Ripple does. Lock in." This is a statement directly from the CEO, directly to the XRP army. Think about that for a second. This isn't just some vague corporate jargon. It is a direct, forceful statement made at a massive turning point in the company. He did not say XRP is part of what they do. He said XRP is at the center of everything they do. Ripple's president, Monica Long, backed this up, confirming XRP's central role and that the new Ripple Prime platform is actively exploring more ways to use XRP. So what does the center of everything actually mean? It means XRP's main job as a bridge asset for Ripple's payment solutions isn't going anywhere. That use case is still the foundation, but it's also getting bigger. Garlinghouse made that statement in the context of a huge shopping spree of acquisitions, including Medico for custody, Standard Custody for regulation, Hidden Road for prime brokerage, let's not forget Rail and G Treasury. These moves show Ripple as building a massive all-in-one financial machine, and Garlinghouse is telling us that XRP is the engine for the entire system. The plan isn't to replace XRP, it's to build the whole new universe of financial services around it. So if XRP is still the star player, what's the real hidden purpose of RLUSD? The answer is that RLUSD and XRP aren't even trying to do the same job. They're not competitors, they're partners, each with a very specific strategic role. The main job of RLUSD is not to be a bridge currency for cross-border payments. Its purpose is to act as a stable collateral for the big money players on Ripple's new prime brokerage platform, Ripple Prime. Let me give you an analogy. Think of Ripple Prime as a huge next-generation stock market for giant institutions like hedge funds and asset managers. In the financial market, you need a stable asset to back your trades. You need cash on the books. In the old world, that was the US dollar. In Ripple's new digital world, that's going to be filled by RLUSD. Institutions can hold their money in RLUSD, a fully backed and regulated digital dollar, giving them the stability they need for complex trading without worrying about price swings. In fact, RLUSD is already being used as collateral for a number of prime brokerage products. It is the stable bedrock that makes these institutions feel safe enough to jump into Ripple's ecosystem. While RLUSD is still young with a market cap of just under $1 billion, its role is clear. XRP, on the other hand, is the super fast vehicle we use to move value within the ecosystem. One provides stability, the other provides speed. If you're starting to see how these pieces click together and you're getting some value from this breakdown, do me a quick favor and hit the like button. It really helps the channel and tells YouTube that this is the kind of no hype analysis the XRP community actually wants to see. Make sure you're subscribed too so you don't miss what's coming next. Let's get back to the video. Now we get to the most important part of the entire puzzle. How does RLUSD actively help XRP grow? This isn't just a happy accident. It's a direct, symbiotic relationship designed to create a powerful flywheel effect. Step 1. RLUSD is the welcome mat for the big money. First, having a compliant, fully backed stablecoin like RLUSD is a massive green light for conservative institutional clients. These are the billion-dollar funds that have been nervous about diving into crypto. RLUSD gives them that safe, stable way to enter the digital asset world, specifically through Ripple's ecosystem and Ripple Prime. Step number 2. Institutions start transacting on the XRP ledger. Once these institutions are on Ripple Prime, they need to trade, settle, and clear all sorts of assets, crypto, FX. It goes on. The game-changing part is that Ripple Prime is built to use XRP Ledger for these functions. So the more institutions RLUSD brings in, the more activity and volume gets pushed onto the XRP Ledger. Step number 3. More on-ledger activity creates more demand for XRP. This is the magic link. More activity on the XRPL directly boosts demand for its native asset XRP in a few different ways, actually. First, every transaction on the ledger requires a tiny bit of XRP for fees that gets burned at the end of each transaction, slowly reducing the total supply over time. Second, the XRP ledger has a cool new feature called auto bridging, where it can automatically use XRP as the middleman to find the cheapest trading path between two assets on a built-in exchange. As RLUSD brings in more trading, more liquidity to the XRPL, the need for XRP as the native bridge asset is going to naturally go up. Step number 4, the flywheel starts spinning. This all creates a self-feeding loop. RLUSD brings in the institutions. Those institutions create activity on the XRP ledger. The activity boosts the utility and demand for XRP. A more useful and liquid XRP then makes the whole Ripple ecosystem even more attractive to even more institutions. That's the flywheel. RLUSD is the initial push that gets the heavy wheel of institutional adoption spinning. As it turns, it creates more and more momentum with XRP right at the center, spinning faster and faster and faster and faster. When you zoom out, you see Ripple's game is way more ambitious than just payments. With its string of acquisitions, Medico, G-Treasury, Hidden Road, Rails, building an end-to-end financial powerhouse. They aren't just trying to build a better crypto, they're aiming to replace the slow, clunky, and fragmented systems of traditional finance. In this new system, there isn't one master asset for everything. It's an entire ecosystem of tools that work together. RLUSD is a stable unit of account and collateral. XRP is the high-speed settlement and liquidity asset, and they both run on the XRP ledger, the foundational settlement layer of it all. The multi-asset strategy is what makes the whole thing so powerful. It lets Ripple offer specialized tools to different institutional needs, which brings value and activity into their ecosystem. And as the central native asset of the entire machine, XRP is perfectly positioned to benefit from every single transaction, every new dollar that flows in, no matter if it arrives at RLUSD or something else entirely. So let's put the fear to rest. The idea that RLUSD is going to kill or replace XRP comes from a basic misunderstanding of Ripple's grand strategy. The fear is understandable, but when you look at the evidence, it just doesn't hold up. First, Ripple CEO has repeatedly put his reputation on the line, declaring that XRP is the absolute center of their entire vision. Second, we've seen that RLUSD has a totally different job. It's not a rival bridge currency. It's a stable collateral designed to get risk-averse institutions to join the party. And finally, we've broken down how RLUSD is engineered to be a catalyst for XRP's growth, creating that flywheel where more institutional money is coming in through RLUSD leads directly to more on-ledger activity and a greater demand for XRP. The hidden importance of RLUSD is that it isn't a replacement for XRP. It's the most important partner. It's the key that could unlock the door to huge amounts of institutional capital, guiding it directly into the ecosystem where XRP is the essential native engine. So the real question isn't if RLUSD will sideline XRP, but how high its success can ultimately push XRP's adoption and value. What do you think about the relationship between the two? Do you believe that the institutional flywheel is about to kick into full effect? Drop your thoughts. Let me know. Let me know your XRP price prediction too. I got a lot of pushback on that. I want to know what you guys think. Let's see how easy it is. Nah, I'm just joking. I appreciate every single one of you. I read every single one of the comments. If you are still here at the end of the video, I love you all. I appreciate you all the most. Be sure to hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment. If you made it to the end of the video, comment baller, because that's exactly what you are. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Later.